Hello everyone, Michael here from Two Dads Talk Games with another Too Long Didn't Read guide for World of Warcraft. This time on the block, it's the Frost Death Knight, so let's just get into it. A quick warning before we do start, this is simply a basics guide and my recommendations for a new Frost DK looking to get a feel for the class. As of 7.15, there is a Breath of Sindragosa build that is equivalent or higher in DPS than the one I will lay out here. However, it is much more challenging to pull off, and this is aimed at those looking for a stepping stone into the world of Frost. With that in mind, here are the talent choices that I would suggest. At level 56, you'll want to take Icy Talons for the attack speed increase. At level 57, you'll want to take Frozen Pulse so that when you have no runes left, you aren't totally left in the dust with no damage. At level 58, you'll want to take Avalanche as your default choice for the increased damage while Pillars of Frost is up. At level 60, the choice is entirely up to you, but odds are you'll get the most out of Binding Steel for the CC. At level 75, Permafrost is my suggested talent, although again this one's entirely up to you. An auto attack giving you an absorb shield is always a nice bonus. At level 90, you will default to Runic Attunement for the runic power regeneration. However, Frost Scythe is and will pull ahead in 4+ target scenarios. However, if you're going to use that, you will need to stack more mastery. And finally, at level 100, your default will be Obliteration. It's a nice DPS cooldown. It's the easiest to use out of all three in my opinion. So next up, we're going to review the stats in priority order. This will be aimed at obviously giving you the most DPS for the lowest amount of stats necessary. So first off, you're going to aim for obviously strength on all of your gear. Secondly, you're going to be looking to get your haste up to around 20%, as other stats are a higher priority past this point. Secondly, you'll want to get your critical strike up to around 25%. Again, it becomes less of a priority beyond this. You can see here mine's a bit lower, however, that's just because I'm currently not in my correct gear. Thirdly will be versatility, as a flat damage increase and damage reduction is always nice. And then finally, you're going to want to get your mastery. The bonus from your mastery is only effective if you're doing a lot of frost damage, but this build is based around Obliterate, which is considered physical. You can fine tune your haste and crit a little bit better before you go for mastery, but I wanted to keep this as simple as possible. So very briefly, let's go over the gems, enchants, and consumables. So first up, your main gem should be 200 strength, and then all gems after that, the 150 versatility gem. The reason for this is that it's harder to balance your crit and haste when you're re-gemming all the time. It also gets really expensive, so it's easier to do that with gear. For your neck enchant, you're going to want the Hidden Satire. Again, neck enchants can be super pricey, but the damage proc is nice. For the back enchant, you're going to want to go with strength. And for your rings, the same situation with the gems, you're going to want to go for versatility. Since DKs can rune forge their weapons, you want to use Rune of Razor Ice on your main hand, and Rune of the Fallen Crusader on your offhand. And finally, the consumables you're going to want to use are Flask of the Countless Armies for the strength boost, and to eat, the Fish Brule Special is currently the highest DPS gain, but if you can't afford it, a lower form of food that has the same proc is your highest priority. For potions, Prolonged Power is a good cheap option, but Potion of the Old World is going to be a higher DPS gain. So the basic playstyle is going to be based around whether or not you have Obliteration up. So let's run through that first. When Obliteration is up, which you should only use if you have 2 or more runes and 25 or more runic power, just alternate between your Frost Strike and Obliterate. Basically, until the buff has fallen off, you will continue to get guaranteed critical obliterates. Outside of that window, your priority is to consume Killing Machine procs, then Rhyme procs, then from there dump runes into Obliterate, and when high on runic power, dump a couple Frost Strikes in there. While that is going on, use your Remorseless Winter on cooldown. As for your DPS cooldowns, your main one is going to be Pillars of Frost, which is a nice short 1-minute cooldown, which you should be using as often as you can throughout the fight. Next up is your artifact ability, Sindragosa's Fury. I'll zoom out here so you can see. In a big long line, it does a huge chunk, 2 million or so damage. It is on a 5-minute cooldown, so you'll want to use this basically as soon as you have 5 stacks of Razor Ice up on the target for the 15% increased damage, or if you know there's going to be a huge burst of DPS needed. For defensives, we have Anti-Magic Shell, which you should use right before you know you're about to take massive magic damage, or Icebound Fortitude, which is a flat 20% damage reduction for 8 seconds. And one more talent that I did, or pardon me, one more cooldown I neglected to mention is Empowered Rune Weapon, which immediately activates all your runes and generates 25 runic power. So you want to use this once you find yourself with no more buttons left to press because your rune's starved. Try to use it as many times as you can throughout the fight. If this was at all helpful, consider leaving a comment and hitting the like button. Get subscribed for more videos like this in the future, and hit us up on Twitter at 2dadstalkgames. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching.